Hello everybody, I am Hoarder Gamer, and today is Comicus! The knockdown, drag-out fight between 3 or 4 comic books to see who is supreme and who is bagless and boardless at the end. So we'll be starting in just about 5 minutes, everybody. Give everybody a little time to fill in. And I can say we have 3 books today. One is double-sized, a double-sized book. So it kind of equals 4 books. And News and Gaming, good to see you. Good to see you, News. And so it kind of equals, what we try to do with the 3 or 4 books. And this was technically 4 books because one's double-sized. What I can say without ruining anything is none of these were bad, which is good. This is good. Last week, we had a kind of sucky book. Kind of sucky. It was Superman. Forgive me, I want to say it's 26. I forget the exact number. Not good. In fact, I read about 4 issues of Superman in the last few months, and I have decided not even just to read Superman anymore, which is a shame because it's Superman. You would think that when DC has an excellent writer on Batman, and they do, an ex-CIA guy, sorry about that, ex-CIA guy named Tom King, who's awesome, and a gentleman by the name of Williamson doing The Flash. So you have big, amazing books with great creative teams right now. I don't know if they have the right writer on Superman. I don't know. It's a weird thing to say because I'm sure it's a big name writer. I don't know exactly who it is. I'd have to find out because I don't have the book by me. It would be a little confusing to have a ton of different books that aren't part of the actual review Comicus process for the week. So I try to stick with the 3 books we're looking at. On occasion I'll bring out another one that I didn't get the review, but at least could be like, hey, it's kind of neat, check it out. So yeah, we're just starting in about 3 minutes, everybody. Caffeine-free Pepsi here. So how's everyone doing? Everyone having a good evening? Again, on Wednesday, it's just Comicus. There's not an actual game stream. One of the reasons for that is there's planning around Comicus. So there's going to the shop and picking up the books. And no, this isn't for you to feel bad for me or anything. It's just to let you know that there is like a process to do this. It's not just the 45-minute stream. That'd be awesome if it was. So I go to a store, go to a shop, right? And sometimes I have to go to 2 shops because one may not have gotten a book in. That happens here and there. And it happened last week. It happened during the Button storyline. So that's interesting. So that figure, back and forth and then going to 2 shops, that's roughly about an hour process right there. And I have to orchestrate things as I do not drive. So it always makes it interesting. So yeah, sometimes it's going to 2 shops, and then it's also going and deciding what books. Because I can hope it's going to be what Diamond Comics says is coming out that week. Books do get pushed back. The issues happen. Trucks don't come with shipments. Things happen. So you got to be able to jump to the fly and be like, okay, it's going to be different books. That's what we have to do this week. Also, just the process of reading them, Average comic book, I'd say about 15 or 20 minutes, especially if there's great splash art and you're enjoying it. You're not just reading a page and just going through it quick. I'd say about 20 minutes with each book. So yeah, you're looking about 60 to 80 minutes, I would say, for the 4 books, 3 to 4 books. I'm not saying you can't read a book in 10 to 15 minutes, but if there's great splash art and stuff, you're going to want to really sink it in, especially when they show like a cool, one of these books does that tonight actually, a cool battle where they have the names of all the characters, and some I was not familiar with. I knew most of them, but not all of them. So that was nice to actually know who was fighting who in this awesome battle sequence. Okay, everybody, we are 5 minutes in, so that actually means we will start the actual process that is Comicus. I do that for dramatic effect. I don't know if it's really dramatic, but I do it anyway. Okay, so we got round one. Let us do this. Let's rock. Actually, no, it'd be more like if it's Twin Peaks, it's like... Although when I pull my hands apart, then you'd have to hear the clapping sound. So it's not going to really work completely. Let's rock. Oh, sorry. I didn't even do it right. Let's rock. There we go. That's better. At this point, everyone knows I'm crazy. So let's just go on with this craziness here. Superman Action Comics number 983. I figured... Well, I want you to see the number on the damn book. Anytime I move the book left, it moves right on the screen. I move the book right, it moves left on the screen. So, also, the books are upside down, actually, now, so the camera can get them right side up. The camera has to be fixed. I tried working on that because I stupidly forgot about it, I'm not going to lie. Just about 20 minutes before the stream, and even though it's saying that I was switching controls to the other camera, it wouldn't do it. It just would not do it. It would say it was, but it was just this camera you're seeing me in being altered. So I had to switch it back each time. I'll figure it out. Because I want you to be able to see in nice HD the entire book, not just part of the cover. But it'll be okay, I think. I think everyone will live, hopefully. Okay, so 983 Action Comics. After being so terribly disappointed by Superman last week, I was like, you know what? It looks like I'm going to do one more issue of Superman and then just cut the cord. Because I'm granting them that because a new story arc will start next week. Okay? So it could be it's a great story arc. Could pull me in. Could be amazing. It does worry me because it's called The Super Vacation. Which means me to think it's going to be some little like light story with Clark, Lois, and John, who's Clark's son now. So who knows what to expect next week, but that's next week. We won't even worry about that now. What we have here is an ass-kicking book about some of Superman's worst enemies teaming up to utterly destroy him and supposedly create a new militaristic Krypton on Earth. Now, what you're probably thinking is when I say militaristic and Krypton, you're thinking, could that be General Zod? It sure as hell could be General Zod, one of Superman's best villains. So you have that strength right there in this book, okay? So, Zod is teamed up with Cyborg Superman, Metallo. Give me 1 second to think. I apologize. I'm trying to think who else. There's some other heavy hitters. Oh, Mongol and this person with psychic abilities. I'm not really sure who they are, actually. I know DC Comics decently, but I don't know who's using psychic abilities here. And it's really cool in the book, though, because Zod is using the psychic to amazing effect. Basically, like, linking him to the other enemies that are facing off against Superman. Superman, on his side, calls in John Henry Irons, also known as Steel. Kara Danvers, also known as Supergirl. Lex Luthor, who's weirdly enough almost like a hero in the Rebirth series, and I'm really happy what they did with Lex Luthor. The Lex Luthor storyline is in the Action Comics book. It's been really cool. In fact, Superman disappears basically in the original Rebirth. There's this person that seems to be an imposter, and in the interim, Lex Luthor basically becomes the new Superman. It's pretty neat. So Action Comics has been a lot more of a bright spot for Superman, if you're a fan, at least in Rebirth, than Superman has for me. And as I said, I've read now a total of about at least 4 or 5 issues of the 26. And that was like 2 or 3 in the beginning, like 2 in the center, probably more of like 6 or 7 issues, I'm sorry, and 2 recently. And I've been disappointed by most of them. It's not a really good thing. And a few of those were right when the story arc started. So it wasn't like I was lost or anything like that. That wasn't the reasoning for being disappointed by the straight up Superman book. But yeah, Action Comics, if you're a Superman fan, I would stick with Action Comics. Get that. I think you'll be happy. Um, yeah, so the plan was the militaristic Krypton, but it seems Zod has something far crazier in mind. And he's looking for a device hidden in the Fortress of Solitude. Again, when I do these, I don't want to ruin the entire book for you in case you want to run out and get it. But it was good. It was good. They also brought in Kong Keegan, I believe is the name. I'd have to double check. The Superman of China. There's a Chinese Superman, and it's actually a fascinating book because there's also a different version of Wonder Woman and a different version of Superman in this book. And I had the first 2 or 3 issues. I liked it, but you get to a point where you have to start trimming down what you're reading. You know, just it's too much, becomes too expensive. And it was good, but it wasn't like great. It wasn't something I was looking forward to every month to enjoy reading, but it was good. It wasn't a bad book. So yeah, that's Action Comics right there. Anyone have any questions on Superman or Action Comics or anything? But yeah, there's some great fight sequences in here, and you know, using the abilities of these characters in very interesting ways. Um, it was good. It was a good book. At first, I was a little worried it would just be fighting, but there's more plot going on, especially with what Zod is planning. Zod, this is Timothy Zahn. No, Zod, writer of great Star Wars books. He actually accomplishes part of his plan, and it's very interesting what he does. I wish I could say in detail. Well, I'll say it like this, News. When he reveals what he's doing, what he's looking for at the fortress, and when he utilizes that item that he finds. I don't want to say what that is and what it does, but yes, that's my favorite scene in the book. It's very cool because it's a good surprise. And then there's one of those moments where he kind of like sells out his own men. Because, you know, really, a lot of bad guys will do that, right? They'll basically use these people and then like, haha, you were just pawns in my game type of thing. He doesn't say that. It's not how Zod really talks. He's more like a military general when he talks. When a good writer's working with Zod, it's pretty great. There is a scene of a ship getting blasted in the sky as it tries to get away. And that's also a spoiler. And that's awesome. Because that is a damn good scene too, though. So let me explain that. That happens, and we'll say that Clark has a vested interest on what was going on with that ship. Extremely so. Okay? But because he's Superman and knows what a threat Zod is, he needs to take care of Zod and his minions before he can check on what happened to that ship. That's a neat moment because that's very much Superman in a nutshell. Other people would be like, oh, I've got to check on them, you know, but Superman always is about the greater good. He is about stopping the terrible evil at the worst cost to himself or even people he knows. The idea that he's saving billions over a few. He's amazing about that. Good, Death Adder. How you doing? Show's going on right now, Death. It's good to see you. So that's our first book that we're looking at, Action Comics. That would be Action Comics, 983. Revenge, I believe it's... No, it's not issue 1 of Revenge, but it was still easy to understand what was going on. That's our first book. Next up, we have... Get ready for this, everybody. Get ready for this. The Casting. Oh, Twin Peaks is Sunday nights. It's right after the show airs. And I will soon decide if I'm doing a Game of Thrones show. That's up in the air. I wish I could nail it down more. But there's more there's more balls in the air on that one. It's a little more challenging because I feel I need to possibly rewatch for the last 2 seasons of it in order to do that type of talk show justice. So I don't know if I have the time. Even just rewatching, I don't know if I could watch the last 10 hours if I have that much time. Okay, we have the casting, also known as Prelude to Metal. Okay? Also at the top, you might be able to see, it says Dark Days. Okay. I will not front. This book is fucking great. There's really no other words for it. So, last month, June, we had The Forge. Dark Days again, The Forge. What's happening is Dark Days The Forge was part 1 of this big thing called Metal. DC Metal. And that laid the groundwork for this. And that was a one-shot. This is the second one-shot that's setting us up for Metal, which is the month of August. Next month is going to be an insane month because that's when the 6-issue starting of Metal happens. And I'm going to do my best to explain this. It's going to be difficult because we get to hark back to the book that came out last month. Big focus on Hawkman. Hawkman is basically going through multiple lifetimes to tell us about how he got his armor and how other people in the DC universe have gotten items that they use and that it's made of the same metal. A metal that is like found from a rift between dimensions. I know this is going to get insane. I apologize. But this is one of the best cosmic books I've read in a long time. This is better than Civil War II. Which when you have that many heroes together and okay, I apologize. Yeah, Civil War II, because the main crux of that had to do with one of the main cruxes. There's a lot there going on, but a lot of it had to do with Captain America and the affiliation with Hydra. Well, if you know the reasoning why he did all that, it's a cosmic storyline. A character that's like beyond reality type of thing, okay, is involved in that. So that splintered off and became Civil War II and like Secret Empire, the book that's out right now, and all this stuff. Hawkman is crazy, get rich quick schemes. No, it's not about selling the metal. It's about what the metal is, where it comes from, which seems scary so far, and what it's capable of. So, we know about that. We have that storyline. Again, we are looking at the prequel book, The Forge. Came out last month again. So, all the stuff with Hawkman. Meanwhile, Duke Thomas, who is basically a new Robin that Batman is training, although a completely different look and outfit. So he's not really dubbing him a Robin. He's watching the Batcave, and all of a sudden, Green Lantern shows up because the Guardians of Oa basically sensed something or got a message that there's something terrible going on in the Batcave. So he goes there, and all of a sudden, there's this craziness of a voice that both of them can hear, leading them into this dark recess in the Batcave, like behind a door supposedly no one's ever seen, and going into an area of the Batcave no one's ever seen. Well, what you find out is that voice is the Joker. The Joker was a prisoner of Batman since the beginning of the Rebirth storyline. This is like the first we've seen him. Okay? So wrap your head around that. And the Joker is talking about a dark future is coming. Terrible things are going to happen. Okay? This book, If I can move it here. Well, look at that. It's the Joker. There's Duke Thomas right there. Yeah. Well, you find out the Joker was basically on his deathbed and plummeting into the deepest recesses of the Batcave, like pretty much dead. All of a sudden, this metal, this insane metal, bonded with him and basically reconstituted the Joker. Okay? And ever since, the Joker is now this bizarre seer of the terrible future that is to come and how the Bat is going to bring it down on us. You get this cool imagery in this book about the birds and the bats. And you make a point of it not to say Batman, but the Bat. I'm sorry, just the Bat. The bird and the bat. They make a point of it not being Batman, okay? And, yeah, it's pretty wild. I wish I could tell you a lot more about it. I'm trying to think of the big things. Ooh, Batman goes to Hephaestus, the Hephaestus from Greek mythology, and to find out about his forge, and finds out all the gods have left Earth. Which is huge news. That's huge. He faces this protector, and basically the protector of this forge nearly kills Batman. Wonder Woman intervenes. But yeah, you find out a lot about what's been going on with the Joker, and Duke Thomas is not what he appears to be, and has never been what he appeared to be. And he starts asking these provocative, frightening questions that Duke doesn't want to answer. And it's a very interesting take on the Joker, because it's a scared Joker. It's a Joker realizing that as dangerous and, insane as he is, as evil, something far worse is coming. And this far worse thing, he can't be on the side of. It's pretty interesting. At one point, I can say that the Joker says, I bet you didn't even realize that in this case, I'm the good guy. And that doesn't even ruin the book. Because again, it's not that Batman's evil or anything. It's that something else is going to happen that's crazy and involving at least one other dimension. But yes, this book is great. It's actually opening the way to Metal, the new series. And Metal is supposed to basically rock the DC Foundation to its core. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that very much. And again, we don't have a long time to wait. That's next month. So, and I don't even know how it's working. I don't know if it's like Batman Metal, Flash Metal, Wonder Woman Metal. I don't know if it's that, or if it's Metal 1, Metal 2, Metal 3. I don't know how they're going to do it yet. I can look in Diamond Comics. They would probably give me an idea. Well, it was just really cool, Death Adder. And like, as long as I've read comics, it just felt like there was this cool mystery being slowly, unfolding in front of me. And it's the process of this, sorry, one second here, I gotta find his name. Snyder, there we go. That gentleman wrote Batman, most of the Batmans, if not all of them, in Batman Year 52, and he was awesome. Scott Snyder, great writer. Well, since then, he's been dreaming up what Metal is. And Metal can tie everything in the DC universe together. In a sensible, creative, intelligent way. Not just shipping comics. A page-turning, interesting read. And not everything he does is great. Like, I don't know if you remember, Joker lost his face in the New 52. A lot of people didn't like that. But Scott Snyder also created the Court of Owls. So, I feel one of the best villains that Batman's ever had. And one of the most taxing and nightmarish villains he's ever faced. Okay, everybody. So that is that book. Our second book, Dark Days, The Casting. Again, a one-shot. So it's just like issue 1. Okay, everybody. That was book 2. Now we're on to book 3. Let's see here. Hydra, the book. No, it's not Hydra, the book. Give me 1 second here. X-Men Blue, issue 7. And I don't know about you, but nothing is better than a few slices of turkey on a delicious Cullen bun. I'm sorry, it's a terrible joke. I'm sorry. Okay, the writer's Cullen Bunn, and it's X-Men Blue. There's 2 books, X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue, and I'm pretty much cut the cord on X-Men Gold. It's been the last arc was pretty weak, and I don't know. I think I'm hoping another writer takes over the book. I don't know. It was just a weak arc. It didn't seem interesting. A lot of it didn't make sense, even if you understand the X-Men. This was good, but it's a slightly different X-Men team, and the storyline here is pretty neat. Okay? So, what happened was Hydra took over. That's why you see the Hydra symbol right there. Oh, and here's the X-Men, so you know. They didn't just decide to put a Hydra symbol and call it X-Men Blue. That'd be weird. So yeah, we got the X-Men right there. 1 second here. Again, if I move it one way, it goes the other way. Reverse, because of the camera. Okay. Okay, that's pretty... how do I like it? Like that? That's okay, I think. There we go. That's better. We can see that dude's head. Okay. See, that's the problem. This is something I couldn't just figure out before doing this, because things got to be moved, you know? Things got to be moved. Oh, anyway. I think that's kind of a fun, you know? I can plan ahead with things I might say and stuff, but I can't really rehearse every single movement for the camera, so. Okay, so what happened here is once Hydra took over, they basically took the Inhumans and X-Men and all that and wanted to cordon them. So they really couldn't do anything. It's kind of this master plan. They had an energy bubble they put up. I'm glowing. Like an angel? Angels, Mr. B. Angels. I'm sorry, Bioshock had to just show up right there. See what you did, F. Adder? You got me thinking about Bioshock. Okay, so what happened is Emma... Oh my god, I lost my mind. The White Queen. I wanted to say Emma Smith, but that's not her name. Emma Smith? What am I thinking? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Well, anyway, the White Queen. And members of the Hellfire Club are like, hey, Hydra, do your thing. We'll do ours. Just give us a place to be. We'll let you free to do whatever you want, Hydra. Just leave us a place for the X-Men that we consider to be, you know, on board with what we're doing. So, you know, not necessarily the good X-Men. So, this team of X-Men, the X-Men Blue team, they're not really for Hydra. Kind of against them. So the entire book is basically the members of the Hellfire Club, as well as other mutants, fighting these X-Men and basically trying to get them and imprison them. It's not Emma Stone. You're close. You're close. Emma Stone. Nice try. You almost had me saying that like it was correct. Comic book lady have big thingies. Which comic book lady are you talking about? The White Queen? Yes, that's always how they draw her. Although they don't... Jean Grey's no longer drawn voluptuous because she's a young girl. That's what's interesting now. The X-Men team are younger, and I'm still trying to understand that. Because other characters are older. I don't know exactly what's going on. I need to find out, actually, at this point. Unless it's a mystery. Maybe it's a crazy mystery and we don't know. You just have to go with it. I don't know. But no, it was a good book. I thought it was better than X-Men Gold, the last issue of X-Men Gold. A lot of it, though, is the X-Men fighting against other X-Men. And you get a feeling that... What the hell's her name? Frost! I should remember that. The White Queen. The White Queen. Emma Frost might be having some other ideas as to what she's doing. There is a great scene in this book, though, where Havoc actually goes and pretty much stops his brother, Cyclops, dead in his tracks, basically. That was pretty cool. And it was neat because he showed up like at the end. Like you didn't even know really he was part of this group. He just sort of shows up at the end to kind of clean up everything. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It wasn't like amazing or anything, but I liked it. And again, this was a good week. There was no book that came out this week where I was like, that was a waste, you know? And I was really happy that the Batman book was good because that was an extra $2. It's not $3, it's $5 because it's the one shot. Although if you saw it had a gorgeous cover. It had one of these cool like reflective covers, which is really nice. On like a hard paper, almost more of a thin cardboard. It's hard to explain. It's still technically paper. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, everybody. So that is phase 1 of Comicus. We actually got very verbose today, or this week even. So now we're going to do phase 2, which is actually no, that was phase 2. I'm sorry. Phase 1's usually a separate introduction. Phase 2 is basically the review process. Phase 3 is the winner of Comicus. So we're actually at that right now. Here, let me take a sip of soda so I don't lose my mind here. Okay. So, give me 1 second. I got to put these in order of winner. If you notice, I had to switch the camera because I can't be like, oh, that's the winner. This mobile thing sucks. I'm sorry, Deaf Adder. That wasn't my plan. I wasn't like, let's make mobile suck again. Or always. Always. Let's make mobile suck always. I can't crack fast. I'm not sure what crack fast means. Is that like a substitute for breakfast? Crackfast? Okay, everybody. So first up, we have X-Men Blue then. And, yeah, like I said, it was a pretty good story. A lot of fighting. But it's more about the politics of the... Basically, again, it's 2 members of the Hellfire Club. So I'm just going to say Hellfire Club. There's only really 4 or 5 main members, so I feel that's a thing I can say. So the Hellfire Club X-Men, we'll call them. And their politics and the decision they made with Hydra and the effect it has on other mutants. That's pretty interesting. A lot of infighting. It seems that's where we're going to be headed towards. A lot of that. And yeah, I liked it. It was good. However, X-Men Blue, number 7. A good book. Some fighting. Some surprises. Interesting politics of the different mutant factions. I feel better than the last issue I've read of X-Men Gold. However, I strip you of your bag and board, and I throw you to the savage land. It's like I ripped its skin off. Okay. Next up, Savage, bro. I'm like that scary guy from, I'm like the scary bastard character from Game of Thrones. In every way. No differences. Just like him. That's something I'll need to be able to do. I'll be able to need, if I do the Game of Thrones talk show, I'll need to be able to tell you that guy's name. Because right now I can't fucking remember it. So another reason that I may not do a Game of Thrones talk show on Sunday. I swear to you, I do love the show, but once it was off the air, it was like out of sight, out of mind. Let's wait for the next season. I'm thinking of Renly. I know it's not Renly. I know damn well it's not Renly. Okay, everybody. So next up we have Action Comics. Again, it was pretty awesome, actually. It was much better than the last issue of Superman. 006. You're fapping to Supergirl? Well, yeah, what happened was, I mentioned this earlier, Death Adder, I don't know if you were here for this, but Superman needed to call on his super family, basically, to help him, because it's Zod, and not just Zod. Zod teaming up with, like, 5 other enemies of Superman, so pretty dangerous. And he had some evil plans, and they were interesting, and there were some good surprises. I do like surprises in this book. But I'll say it again because it's such a short word. But Action Comics issue 983. Much better than the last issue of Superman and most of the issues of Superman I've read for Rebirth. A fun fight, interesting surprises, and a shocker that happens too. However, I am sorry. I strip you of your bag and board, and I have you sail away into the Phantom Zone. Let us out! Let us out! We're floating! Let us out! Sorry. Oh yeah. Dear God. No. Zold. Or he says, oh God, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, he corrects him. And here we go, everybody. The one that can win it all. And probably will win it all. Because the other two have been, you know, stripped. For lack of a better word. Okay, let's see here. Oh, well, Gio, look at that. Dark Days. And don't give me any BS, Death Adder, but it's Batman, and that's why it won. This is considered a DC book, but it's not just Batman. It's wide-reaching. He just happens to be a main figure of this part of the storyline. But I think once we get to Metal, we're going to find out that, you know, no better word than stripped. I think we're going to find out that it's going to be a number of heroes and villains that are greatly affected by what Metal is and where it came from. And again, I can't spoil it, but we kind of get a glimpse of where it comes from. And it's a scary fucking place. A scary fucking place. Oh, I will say this. I did forget about this. Even Ra's al Ghul and these basically immortals knew about this. And it was that it was coming. And they formed like a legion or organization against it. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. So this would be very fanboy. I am somewhat of a fanboy, I do admit, but I'm not. It's not just because Batman's in it. It's really well written, and like I said, this book will create shockwaves throughout the DC universe. Although it makes me hope that they keep going with Rebirth for a long time, because it would suck if they create all these shockwaves and then next year they just reboot everything. That would be disappointing. That would be disappointing. Although I will say this, Rebirth so far doesn't seem like a super hard reboot from what the New 52 was. A lot of elements are still in play. They're just some things that are uniquely different. That's at least how it seems so far from what we've seen. Okay, everybody. So now we have to do a little something else. What could that possibly be? What could we be possibly doing now? Look at that shininess. Isn't that nice? Shiny. Dark Days. The Casting. Prelude to Metal. One shot. It says issue 1, but it's just a one shot. There's just this book. You are captivating. You create a lot of interesting scenarios and ask a lot of interesting questions, and surprisingly give us some answers too. As long as you create the mysteries, you also give us some semi-answers to other mysteries that were created in the previous book, The Forge. I feel that this book will just smash into the DC universe and just leave rubble everywhere. This series will, definitely. Metal will. And the final few pages are spellbinding because of what happens. And again, I wish I don't want to completely spoil it for you. I don't think that's. I think I'd be doing a disservice to the comic book companies as well as to anyone interested in it. But it was damned good. I mean, I think you probably knew this week. I wasn't gonna just sugarcoat it. I was like, "This is fucking great." That's one of the first things I said about it. So, I mean, I'm gonna keep some air of mystery, but sometimes I'm not gonna be able to control that, and I'll do things like that. What that means is it keeps its bag and board, and it ascends. It ascends into the heavens. Or wait a minute. Does it perhaps ascend sideways into an alternate dimension where ninth metal comes from? Who knows? Who knows? VCR, it's good to see you. Very good to see you, VCR. Does anyone have any questions on comic books at all? But yes, the winner of the Comicus is The Casting. Oh, and don't forget, I didn't forget the music that happens when it wins. Oh, see, it's turning sideways because it's an alternate dimension. Oh, okay. There we go. Who is Batman? Well, right now it's Bruce Wayne. That was actually a good question because Batman was Commissioner Gordon a while back in the New 52. That's pretty crazy. Duke Thomas, not Duke Nukem. No, gentleman I named Duke Thomas. Duke Nukem. So everybody, do we have any questions on comic books or any suggestions for books I should look at next week? Or at least in the future. It would be hard for you to say without looking exactly what books hit next week. Hail to the king, baby. Hail to the king. Oh, man. Spider-Man? We looked at Spider-Man, was it last week or the week before? We did Spectacular Spider-Man, and I thought we did a Spider-Man book. I'm not sure now. You've got me thinking maybe we didn't. Jessica Jones was last week. I remember that. No time for love, Jessica Jones. Yeah, and I made that same stupid-ass joke last week, too. Oh, one thing I do have to show you. Get ready for this, everybody. This is nuts. So, as you know, another streamer on Twitch and a member of the same stream team I'm part of, Team Synergy, Shannon Van Pelt, an amazing artist. Wait, upside down, right? I have to do? Wait. Hold on here. I'm going to screw this up. I've got to show this to everybody. I showed this to Xbox Live Mike, and he was like, oh my god, yes. So, oh, sorry, the other way. At what point did she end up modeling to be Wonder Woman on the new issue of Wonder Woman? If you can see that, it looks insanely like her. It is absurd. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what's going on here? I almost want to ask her if she knows the name of the artist. I was like, and understand too, this isn't the, I don't think this is the basic cover. I'm pretty sure this is the alternate cover. So I was like, that's wild. See, if you could see it in a little more clarity. Hold on here. Can you see it? Hold on. You need to see her face, though. That's the thing. Look at that. It looks a hell of a lot like her. I was like, that's just crazy. That's crazy. I've got to tweet that picture and be like, what in the hell is going on here? No, not what I was trying to do with her, Death Adder. Just the face. We're just looking at the face, Death Adder. Don't go to Dirty Land. Don't go to Dirty Land. Okay, but yeah, that was just one of those weird, crazy things I saw, and I had to bring it to people's attention. I'm like, what is going on here? It'd be like if I picked up Superman, and all of a sudden, Superman looked like Camcorder Kid. I'm like, what artist did he work at this book? What is happening? What is happening? Luckily, there will never be a comic character that looks like me, so that's good. That's good. Unless I paid someone a ton of money on their Kickstarter project to be in their book. That's the only way it would happen. And then they would find that panel and be like, oh, I'm not getting this book again, and they just toss it. Good news, though, if it was a Kickstarter, they'd already have that person's money, so wouldn't matter too much. Anyway, yeah, I think we're going to end with that insanity right there. I want to thank you all for watching. You've been awesome. We'll just ask, do we have any other questions at all today on any comic books we talked about, or comic books in general, anything like that? Or any suggestions of books I should look at? Oh, that'd be interesting news in gaming. Death Adder, we could possibly do that. I've heard it's not that good of a book, though. Yeah, I mean, if an issue comes out in the next, like, couple weeks, sure. We could try an issue, see how it is. Yeah, because we looked at Jessica Jones last week, and that was pretty damn good. I was pretty happy with that. Trying to think if there's anything else that's coming out. I don't have it near me, but I did get the new issue of previews, which is nice, because that tells you what comes out in the next 2 months. So, the Venomverse, I believe is... Let's see, that probably was the July version of that, right? So if it's the July version... September? I'm guessing it's September. So yeah, there's going to be like a Wolverine version of Venom and all these insane DC versions of Venom, and I think even the Hulk. So that's going to be crazy. I'm hoping it's going to be good, because Marvel and their big extended series have been kind of disappointing recently. It's your dollary dues. A dollary dues! Well, I do like to do the show and then have a book that we haven't looked at before. That would be interesting news in gaming, but then I would feel I'd have to do 2 shows for the week. I mean, it's possible if there was a bye week that was observed by DC and Marvel and Image and all the other big studios, but usually a bye week is observed by, like, either just Marvel or DC. It's very rare that all the companies decide, let's not put out any new books. Let's make it so we have no product. For a starved community that wants to go every Wednesday and get the new book, let's not have any. Let's show them. Yeah, so I mean, it's a very cool idea, though. Looking at older, like, vintage books. And then I would have to look at things that are cheap. Like, if I had to buy back issues, it's got to be like the $1 or $2 back issue. Not like First appearance of this Spider-Man villain, where it turns out to be like a $60, $70 book. Actually, I do have the first appearance of Carnage. It's kind of weird. The first two issues of the Carnage storyline, where he first appears, are really cool. And issue 3, I mean, it makes sense with the limitations of how you fight Venom, but it just came off as really cheesy. Issue 3 did. Well, it was like, I think 361, 362, and 363. There's a 3-issue story arc. Why is Doc Ock so mad? Do you mean recently? Oh, I can show you guys something I got that I thought was pretty awesome that is comic book related, and actually you'll see more often on Comicus. Get ready for this, everybody. Hopefully you can see it well. I was happy to find this. Oh, no, you can't see it at all with that digital camera. That's amazing. Wow. Xbox Live Mike and I never thought that would be an issue. Oh. Okay, well there you get an idea that there's some color to the feet at least. Oh my god. Well, what this is the Joker. No, it's the Joker. He just came out. They did a Harley Quinn and a Joker for the Pixel Pal series. Let me see if I can give you an idea what he looks like. Okay, we can at least possibly give you an idea what he looks like. So what's neat about these is they shine really bright, if you notice. Like, impressively bright. I had no idea that the light was this good in them. Plus, there's a nice solid on-off switch. These things are actually made pretty darn nice. And they're only like $5 more than a Funko Pop. I light up. So there's a Harley Quinn. Hold on here. I'll find him for you. There we go. Look at that. It's an interesting 8-bit version of the Joker. You can see him better right there, I would say. Especially the hair looks more detailed. But yeah, the light's up very bright, and I think it looks really cool. The Harley Quinn was neat. That's an exclusive to GameStop, actually. The Joker isn't. Joker you should be able to get anywhere. But I got Joker and I got Mega Man. And Mega Man, I've been looking for, no joke, for about 9 months now. They like released him and then was just gone everywhere, and I couldn't find him. So much so that I think they had to reissue him because the box with the box with Mega Man, I'm sorry, not Joker. Box with Mega Man now says 2017, and I can tell you when I found him, it was 2016. So I think they almost had to do a reissue of him. That he was so popular. Maximum Carnage? No, I don't think that was the first appearance of Carnage. I think that was more of a big crossover, wasn't it? Well, let's go back to the full camera. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat, actually, to bobbleheads and figures. I don't buy that many anymore, though, to be honest with you. I very rarely add a new one to the... it's funny you mentioned that, though, because I did add a new one today. And this is, again, no joke. I've been looking for this for almost a year. Finally found one at my comic shop. All I can say is thank you for being a friend. I was so happy to find the Betty White figure. You have no idea. I think she's amazing. She's like a comic icon. She's so great. She was on Saturday Night Live, and she was, I think, in her late 70s or early 80s, and she just knocked it out of the ballpark. She was so good. Oh man, I was so happy to find. And the big joke is that I constantly kept finding Blanche everywhere, right? Blanche and Dorothy. Could never find her or Dorothy's mother. whose name I forget now. Sorry. But yeah, I was very happy to find Rose Nyland. I know the show decently well. She even has a wedding ring. Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. So yeah, there's that one at least. Yeah, no joke. Haven't bought a Funko Pop since I got the Twin Peak ones, which would have been May. So it's been a little while. But yeah, that's one I wanted for about a year now. A little less than maybe. That would be hilarious news in gaming. But for Funko Pops, I very much just get the characters I like. I'm kind of an insane person that way. I had access to, and it'll probably be something I kick myself over. Yesterday I had access to one of the Rugrats Chase Pops. But I don't like Rugrats, I never did. So I had no interest in it. So the cool thing, though, is the girl I know really well, the not Collector's Edge, I apologize. That's my comic shop I go to. The girl I know really well at GameStop, she was at least able to get it. So that's cool. And it turns out the Chase Pop that was going to come out for Westworld, they decided to now have as a Chase at... what do you call that? San Diego Comic-Con, actually. So maybe GameStop will get it, or if we're lucky, Hot Topic. But the problem is I'll have to get the Hot Topic when they open anyway, because I need the 2-pack for Dale Cooper and Laura Palmer from the finale of Twin Peaks. The actual final episode of Season 2. They have a box set for that. I was like, you bastards. Of all the exclusives you have to do special Twin Peaks Pops, don't you? Like my favorite studio, Marvel or DC? DC. Don't get me wrong, I really like Marvel a lot, but of the two, I like DC more. Part of that's because I like Batman so much, but you've got the trifecta. You've got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And when you have good writers, they're fantastic books. And like I said, if you're a Superman fan right now, get Action Comics. I think you'll be happier with it. I think you'll be much happier, especially the way they've used Lex Luthor has been really good. The main Superman book just focuses way too much on Clark's relationship with his son. Just at the expense of telling a truly great story, I feel, at this point. No. Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was Superman for a while, Death Adder, in the beginning of Action Comics. He basically just said, I'm the new Superman. It was really confusing in the beginning, because like there was a pretender to the throne that wasn't Superman, and the real Superman lost his powers and just went around as Clark. It was pretty interesting the way it worked. Yeah. Not much more I can think to say. The Pretender to the Throne guy, or like, who is this guy? Yes, he did. But Clark's powers were gone. Actually, Clark himself, his powers were gone. So that's when Lex Luthor became the new, Lex Luthor's the James Rhodes. Yeah, again, Lex Luthor's a great character. When someone knows how to write him well, he's awesome. I mean, you could say it about most characters, but there are some that are really not fun to read if it's someone that doesn't understand the character. And I know you're thinking, these are DC and Marvel. Does it happen? Yes. Yes, there's some really good writers that'll get a book and not do much with it. There's some huge exceptions, though. Dan Slott, what he did with She-Hulk was amazing. That was really a great book. Focusing on the whole lawyer aspect as much as it did, and her like basically taking cases from other superheroes is pretty interesting. It was really clever, actually. The James Rhodes of Marvel. I mean, if you're saying his version is Superman, kinda, because he does have an armored suit. But I mean, I have a feeling that that dark, frightening Luthor is just underneath the surface, and that's the thing too. Clark has been very suspicious of this all, which I think he should be. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel he's more like the Kingpin. I always felt like Lex Luthor and the Kingpin were very similar characters. Physically imposing, crime bosses, and but not like really what we consider normal organized crime because you know Lex Luthor is also the philanthropist and inventor and businessman, but so is Wilson Fisk. So yeah, to me, I would say very similar to the Kingpin. Hoarders, Dusty Rhodes of Image Comics. Of Image Comics. Okay, everybody. I want to thank you all for watching. You have been awesome as usual. Um, yeah, that pretty much brings the end of this Comicus. It'll be back 9 p.m. next Wednesday. I look forward to that. And yeah, the next stream is actually going to be Friday. There'll be a stream on Friday because I believe I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be coming back into town. So, Don Falcon. Don Falcon. Oh, Don Falcone. Falcone. Uh, yes, but most people believe and know that Falcone is a crime boss. Like, there's enough people that are like, something's got to be done about Falcone. He's got to be taken down. Things like that. He doesn't have the squeaky clean image that so many people believe. He doesn't have that luxury. And Don Falcone is more like very intelligent and has his men do things for him. The Kingpin can get physical if he needs to. Like the Kingpin has physically actually, fought Spider-Man. You know? And like if you see like the Kingpin's a very physical and formidable threat if you watch like Daredevil on Netflix. Although they got a pretty ass-kicking actor to play him on that show. I'm happy that actor agreed, because I mean he's real popular. He's in tons of things. Was it on CIS or whatever that was? CSI? Why would I say CIS? No, CSI or Cold Case or I don't know, one of those shows. I don't really watch a lot of those shows, so I don't know. I'm not big on police procedurals unless there's something crazy as hell going on in the background. Well, thank you very much, News. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Okay, News, Death Adder, everyone else, I hope you have yourself an awesome evening. I will see you guys on Friday, and I hope you all have a good one. Bye-bye.